Hey everyone, it's Nikki Haverstock. I'm all bundled up. I wasn't going to make a video this early. I was going to wait till the afternoon so I could go do chores. But we got like a foot of snow overnight, which is crazy because yesterday it was like 50, 60 degrees and it's been 50, 60 degrees for like a month. But we got a bunch of snow. I was going to go do chores, take care of my horses. We were going to go buy a freezer. Now we're not quite snowed in, but basically. I was going to get a video. I was going to try to do it that way, but the snow is just too reflective, and so all you could see was my outline. Anyway, today I'm going to do a cheerleading video for self-publishing. So kind of looking around, there's a lot of cheerleaders for traditional publishing, and I respect that. That's their choice. That's awesome. But I kind of want to share why I do self-publishing and why why this is the only thing I've ever considered and why I love it so much. So I think sometimes, and this is not true as much now, I started in 2004 is when I started researching it. Kindle publishing through Amazon started in about 2011. And back then in 2011, it was seen as the lesser choice by some institutions, some organizations, and quite a few authors and agents and publishing houses. Now, when people started making a ton of money, some people started going, wait a second, maybe it's not the worst choice. By the time I came to it, and also how I came to it, I chose self-publishing right from the start because I loved everything about it. So I kind of mentioned this in the Who Am I, What Do I Write video. But I had a friend, her name is Deanna Chase. She writes a very popular paranormal romance series. I knew her from my previous hobby for both of us, which was glass. That was actually her and her husband's job. They made, it's not glass blowing, it's the same idea, but it's much smaller. You use a torch and all that. Anyway, she wrote a book and I won a copy. I knew she was self-published and I have been a reader my whole life, and I as well had these ideas that maybe self-publishing was the lesser option, like people stapling together their book and handing it out. So I read her book and I was like, wow, this is really good. This is a real book. And I think there's a lot of people who have that reaction when they first learn about it. And then I mentioned this before, we had a lot of tough stuff. I had a job that kind of went under, a whole bunch of things happened, and we went on vacation and visited her and her husband. And during that time, she explained to me what self-publishing was, and that, yeah, anybody can write, it's just a lot of work, and what it meant to be self-published, and I just loved everything about it. I loved the idea of being in control of my own destiny. I liked the idea that I got to pick who I worked with, that I can make decisions, all that kind of stuff. And so I've always been a fan of self-publishing. When people kind of thumb their noses at it or think it's less than, I'm like, okay, that's fine. But I have so many of my heroes who are incredibly popular authors and are making quite a bit of money. And many of these authors, Kristen Painter, Jana DeLeon, came from traditional publishing. And because of how royalties work, what is considered a loss for traditional publishing is a win for self-publishing, because in general, self-publishing for ebooks, between $2.99 and $9.99, you get 70%. So for $2.99 ebook, you get about $2 a book. So that's pretty significant. You can go do the math, and there's you can look at calculators to kind of, if you see someone's rank, you can kind of guess, and of course it doesn't count for the cost of doing it and all. But I am such a big fan of self-publishing. So I've already kind of talked on the idea of control and money. Those are two big factors. Some of the things that people say, well, self-publishing books aren't as good as traditional published books. A self-published book is as good as you make it. And what that means is that if you choose not to use editors, you choose not to use critique partners or beta or anything, then it's very likely, I won't say a guarantee, because there's always, if you say you have to have an editor, someone will say, well, so-and-so doesn't have an editor and they're making a ton of money. So I'm going to say in general, if you don't have an editor, your book will not be at the highest level it could be. But that's a choice up to you. I don't use beta readers and I don't use critique partners, but I do use a slew of editors. And so I have a beta content editor who also, a development and content editor who also does line edits. And then I send it to a different editor who does copy edits. And then they have an additional editor who also does proofreading. And so 3 different people read my book. That is my choice. I like that system. I like having that many eyes on it. I'm not a particularly strong grammar person, and so I'm happy to pay someone else to do that for me. And I'm learning, of course, and I'm getting better. But you know, it's a weakness of mine, and so I pay someone to do it. I pay someone to do covers. I am learning how to do my own covers so that I have the option of trying a second set of covers, but right now and for the last 4.5 years, I paid someone. So I have the choice to do it, to make my book as good as a traditionally published author. And these, you say, well, yeah, but the traditional publishers, that's their job, they're experts. Well, they're not the only experts in the world. A lot of the editors that you can use and you can hire are also work for traditional publishers. And they just kind of saw this need that they could take on a couple extra clients and get paid really well, and so they do it. So your book can be as good as you want. I already mentioned that you get a significantly higher percentage of the royalties. And another thing is you have the flexibility to make choices. So for instance, 2 days ago, an author messaged me through Facebook and was like, hey Nikki, how you doing, girl? We're gonna put together a Facebook hop. Do you want to be involved? And I was like, absolutely. And she said, well, you might want to set one of your books for free. So a Facebook hop is where a group of people, I think there's about a dozen of us. Sorry, you can probably hear my son. About a dozen of us, we all have the same post, and you direct it to the next person, and theoretically people can go in a circle, and then if they go in the full circle, they can get entered to have a master prize. And then I was able to set one of my books for free, so everybody who comes to my page, which as of this morning I have 140 comments, and it started at midnight last night, of people that want to be entered. A lot of these people are like, hey, I've not ever read your book. Thanks for the free book. I can't wait to get started. Just so you know, they won't all read it. That's how it works when you give away free books. Not everybody reads it, but some of them do. Some of them become fans. We are all writing in the same same genre, which is paranormal cozy mystery, which is like if Murder, She Wrote and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the 1990s version, not the grittier reboot, were one show. So solve murders, there's a witch, they're usually fun and silly and all that. And so these are my readers. If I was traditionally published, I wouldn't have that flexibility. So those are some reasons why I love self-publishing. It is a business. When I have writer's block, I can go and I can transition and I can research recording my own audiobooks. I can look for marketing opportunities. I can build my newsletter. I can repackage a couple of my books into a bundle and apply for a sale. I do have writer's block, that's a whole nother topic, but areas where I just can't write today. I need to think on something, I need to come up with a better solution. There's something wrong with the book and I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, because I'm self-published, I can pivot and work on other things that will also make me money. So there's a lot of reasons why I love self-publishing. And if you want to make a career, not just write a book or whatever, if you want to make a career out of writing, it is something that you should be researching and considering if it is the right decision for you. Now, is that to say that I would never do traditional publishing? No, that it isn't off the table. It's just a matter of I would rather invest my time into this. But I'll be honest, if someone came to me and said, wow, you're doing so well at self-publishing, we'll pay you $100,000 to do a book with us, I will probably say yes. So if you know of anyone, you can go ahead and hit me up. Now, as that number fell, at some point, there would be a line where I'd say, no, I can do better on my own. I know people who would not take that $100,000 deal because they are making so much money self-publishing that sort of like $1 million, they would not take that gamble. And they're probably authors that you haven't even necessarily heard of, but they're making a lot of money. So I just wanted to kind of put out into the YouTube sphere, into AuthorTube, some positive energy for self-publishing, because I personally haven't encountered a lot of videos that talk about it and talk about what an amazing opportunity is for someone who wants to make writing their career. So hit me up in the comments if you have any specific questions about self-publishing, writing in general, me, I don't know, anything at all. Okay, bye.